In this video, I'm going to be covering something very, very important that helps you to save a years of time and emotional damage that you might get lifetime PTSD from you actually trying to land your dream job here in Europe. So let's get into it. So today I'm going to be talking about how you can actually prepare for the job interview in a way that helps you position yourself in the best way possible. So at the end of the day, you will be able to get your dream job. I'm not actually giving like random ass advice from like reading books or watching like other YouTube videos, but me actually helping, like being in the trenches and helping people on a daily basis, talking them and like actually helping them 150 people to get a job here in Europe. Throughout the journey, me actually being able to learn and then actually realize the mechanism or the system that's been proven and working. The advice that actually comes from my pure experience after working more than 200 people here in Europe. So first thing first, the first thing that I wanted to talk about how you can actually prepare in the job interviews. I mean, like oftentimes I hear people or I actually see people, they wait for the job interview to come, but after they get the job interview, they start to do the preparation. But it's completely wrong because first of all, you know exactly what kind of jobs you're looking for and what type of interviews you expect to have. And you're not going to apply to, let's say, if you have the marketing experience or you have like the sales guy, you're not going to apply for IT or data science roles, right? Basically, intentionally apply for the jobs that you are qualified for or that you expect to have the job interviews. Like most of the interviews, basically, if you know your industry and you know exactly what are the questions you might get asked. So that means you have to actually start to prepare for the job interviews, even though you haven't actually like landed yet. And then you have to actually on a daily basis, you have to do the practice. You have to list out possible questions that you might have in the interviews. And then you can actually practice on a daily basis. Take your phone or you can actually record yourself on the laptop. And then, for example, you can actually role play yourself or like in front of the mirror. That actually works with sales too. You will get used to it, especially when you actually record yourself after actually like answering the questions. If you watch the videos back and like you're gonna actually see what are the weaknesses or what are the points that you can actually improve. So as I said, you have to actually prepare for the job interview before you land them. That's if that makes sense. As I always actually say my clients, basically you have three types of resources that you can prepare for the job interviews. The first one is your CV, and the second one is your job description, and then the third one is company type, like the basically company. So let's cover the CV part. Honestly speaking, you have to actually know like what you are actually putting on your CV, like what kind of information you're putting on your CV, which is attractive enough so you will be able to land the job. When the time comes, like you cannot actually afford to, you have to actually know, you have to actually walk through your CV like without any stop, like literally. For example, the simple question, the first question they're gonna ask, walk me through your CV, or tell me about your professional background, or tell me about yourself. And then if you don't know how to put the words in a way that sells you, that's the basic stuff you have to actually understand. I mean, they're not going to ask about your parents, they're not going to ask about your personal problems. Actually, they're going to ask specifically about you and the things that you mentioned on your CV, the bullet points, the skills, tools that you know, specifically what are the things you are responsible and what you have achieved under the specific job experience you put on your CV. For example, let's say you worked in like the marketing specialist at, let's say, Amazon, right? And then you have actually 3 bullet points that you put on your CV, right? And then the interviewer asking that, like, tell me about your experience working at Amazon. If you don't know or don't actually put the things, as I said, in a way that sells you, that's expected questions. You have to actually expect it. They're not gonna, as I said, ask completely unexpected questions. They're gonna ask specific questions. They can actually ask the questions from your CV. You have to actually know your CV, create the scenarios based off the bullet points for the situational questions. For example, tell me the time when you actually led the team, or tell me the time how you effectively prioritize some tasks or hit the deadline, or things like this. And like all of the scenarios or all of the situations that you're gonna actually put in the STAR method, right? Like the situation, task, action, result. So that's the first thing, which is CV. I mean, you cannot actually afford to think or prepare your answers at the spot. You have to have your script that actually sells you. It's kind of your value proposition. I mean, this is the exact things that I've been doing, and then that's why I feel like I am fit for this job role. That's the first thing. Second thing, basically the job description. As I said in the beginning, if you haven't landed the job, like the interview yet, but you know what exact kind of interviews you will get from what kind of job positions. As I said, like the number one rule is basically you should know what are the job positions you target to. You cannot target with same CV, with one CV to gazillion job roles or like different industries. You have to have like dedicated CV specifically tailored to specific job positions. So as I said, the second thing is the job description. If you don't have the job description, what you can do, let's say like the sales specialist should have, let's say like you see the job description on the LinkedIn, and these are the skills that they are actually requiring. And then even though the companies are different, but for the specific job role, they ask the similar requirements, similar actually qualifications. So that means like 80% of the time, you know exactly what are the things are required for the specific role. And then when you are preparing for the job interviews, you have to always back it up with the CV that you have, the qualifications that you have. For example, I'll explain one thing. Let's say you worked, as I said, the marketing specialist, right? And then you're applying for the job, which is marketing manager role. There is a requirement, person like the perfect candidate should have XYZ skills, right? And then you actually put the same skills on your CV. In the interview, they can ask, for example, can you please tell me your experience using XYZ tool? Do you know how to use this tool? So for example, HubSpot. If you have the HubSpot skills on your CV, what you're gonna do, basically you're gonna actually answer the questions based on the CV, like the information on your CV. That puts you in the place that you are highly qualified. When I was working in TransferGo, we were using the tool called HubSpot, which is CRM system, and then like we were managing XYZ thing. I feel like I am fit for this role because I have actually 5+ years experience using this CRM, specifically HubSpot. I know how to use it. I know how to measure the customer journey, whatever it might be. So you have to always back it up to the specific job position based off the experiences that you had in your previous role. So you have to make yourself ideal candidate for the specific role. So we covered the job description part. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is cultural fit. For example, how you're going to go over the process is basically you have to list out, quote unquote, your favorite companies that you wanted to work, and then you have to actually start to study their missions and their visions, and then their principles too. For example, if you go to Amazon's website, they have 14 like the principles they actually follow on a daily basis, in department level, in company level, in team level, like individually. Basically they have the kind of rules they have to actually follow. And then for example, they have one principle, I think it's like the flexibility or innovation driven, and then you have to actually tailor your answers based on the company's vision, so that actually puts you in the place that you are fit culturally for their company. Basically that's it. They're not going to ask about your personal life. They're not going to ask about your GPA. They're not going to ask about your, personal problems. They are going to ask about your CV. They're going to ask about the job description. They're not going to actually ask like specifically company vision, but you have to actually position yourself in a way that is culturally fit. That's pretty much it. And it is very simple. And if you don't know how to nail the interview, you keep actually getting rejections, even though you passed the first, second, third round of the interview. And then you're gonna actually get emotional damage, as I said in the beginning, that you might get like forever PTSD from job search. That's the exact things that I've been actually witnessing and seeing people like what they are doing. So as I said, if you want to nail the interview, please use these techniques, use these principles, and then let me know how it works. And I hope that video was helpful. And if you wanted to work with me one-on-one, there is a link under the description, so you can actually book a call. My team and I, we're going to talk to you if you are qualified, and we're happy to work with you and help you to get a job. That's pretty much it for today, and see you in the next one.